meet again on this platform of IIP DG Academy to address something which was once considered the problem of the West, but now steadily creeping into our country and threatening the health of our children. That is the childhood obesity. Globally, overweight and obesity among children and adolescents has risen sharply over the last decade. Sadly, the situation is the same in India. According to the World Obesity Atlas to 2026, India now ranks second globally in childhood obesity, thanks to the changes in the diet, physical activity, and lifestyle. And here we are on the World Obesity Day 2026 to brainstorm about ideas to mitigate this problem. So let us begin the program dedicated to the health and future of every child. I request our charming and dynamic Secretary General of Central IIP, Dr. Ruchitra Gupta, to welcome the office bearers, VPs, and guests of today's program. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Swati. A very good evening to respected chairperson or the president IAP 2026, Madam Neelam Mohanji, and past president-elect Dr. Singaravelu sir, past president Dr. Vasant Khaladkar sir, the treasurer of Central IAP, Dr. Alok Bhandari ji, our vice presidents, joint secretaries, executive board members who have joined today, all the panelists, the esteemed panelists for this obesity day celebration, for which we are holding our panelists, our dear colleagues and friends, a very good evening once again to one and all. It is a privilege to welcome you all to this webinar organized on the occasion of World Obesity Day. This year's theme, ABC, basically is to emphasizing basically on act on obesity, 8 billion reasons to act on obesity. Now, it reminds us that obesity is not just an individual problem, but a global health challenge affecting people across age group. As Secretary General of Indian Academy of Pediatrics, I reaffirm our commitment to creating awareness and promoting healthy lifestyles among children and families. And in this connection only, today's webinar has been planned to celebrate this Obesity Day, to deal with or to address the issue of this silent pandemic, that is obesity, among with you all, under the presidentship of our very able president, Dr. Neelam Mohan Madam. With this, I wish all the success for this webinar. And once again, thank you very much. Over to you, Swati.
Yeah. Thank you, ma'am. So, to throw more light upon the World Obesity Day and its importance, we are very fortunate to have our current national president of Indian Academy of Pediatrics, none other than Dr. Neelam Mohan ma'am, who has decades of wisdom and clinical excellence in the field of nutrition and who represents the entire Commonwealth countries in the Federation of International Society of Pediatric Gastroenterology, Hepatology and Nutrition, that is FISGAN. She's also the immediate past president of CAPGAN, that is called Commonwealth Pediatric Gastroenterology, Hepatology and Nutrition. She's also the chair of Indian College of Pediatrics, where she's recently launched a research wing to create an impetus to research in child health in India, which is much needed because of the large pediatric population in our country. I call upon Dr. Neelam Mohan ma'am to enlighten us on the significance of celebrating the World Obesity Day. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Swati, and thank you to all the dignitaries who have joined on this stage, the President-elect Dr. Singaravelu, past President Dr. Vasant, all the VPs, the EBs, thank you so much for being on this forum today. As highlighted by the MOC and Dr. Ruchira, the theme today is something which none of us would have imagined. The theme is 8 billion reasons to act on obesity. What does that mean? That means the population of the globe, which is 8 billion, they want each and everybody to work together for obesity, whether it is at individual level, at family level, at healthcare workers level, healthcare physicians, community, policy makers, government, everything together. So I haven't seen a theme like this in my life which said each member of the globe needs to be a part of this. And how beautifully today we realize the importance of this, and Indian Academy of Pediatrics wanted to talk about it by getting all the experts in different fields. While we are going to address a beautiful panel subsequently, but I am so privileged to have Supon as the chief guest. But before that, I would love to play a video. This video has been prepared at the fish Fishbagan, which is we divide ourselves into different groups and we keep working. Like I was working in the liver or I worked in the foreign body video. Now, this video on obesity has been made by our colleagues under the leadership of Supon, who's our president of the Fish Fishbagan. So I would love to play this video now, Sadi, so that we can see what it has to say.
Nakantos. Iba. Go.
Thank you very much. So, indeed, I'm so happy and proud today to say that I've been fortunate that I've been a part of both the sides, wherein that I could be working at global level and working at India level. And this makes me so happy and proud that I could share the goodness that the the team helped us to prepare globally. And as you can see, when we were seeing the video, none of us felt that it was meant for the West or it was meant for the East. It was for all of us. With that few words, I would request that we proceed and get to hear more about Supporn before we go to the panel. Over to Swati.
That was indeed a very comprehensive video, ma'am. I think it covers everything, and it will be easily understood by the common man and lay people as well. Now, I invite our president-elect and also well-known academician, Dr. Singaravelu sir, to address and also invite today's chief guest.
Thank you, Dr. Swati, for your nice introduction. Our very dynamic National IEP President, who has shown a very good video universally about our World Obesity Awareness, Dr. Neela Mohan, our HSG Ruchira, Treasurer Alokji, and all my good Vice Presidents, EB members, and all the dignitaries in the dais and DG Academy and all are viewing in YouTube, in all social media. And more than that, today panelists like Dr. Upendra ji, Shailaja ma'am, and all others, Nirmala ma'am, and Hemant, and Swati, and all those who are involved, we are happy to hear a very good interaction with you all. Surely all the participants and the people who are here today, definitely, already the whole India of our National Academy of Indian Pediatrics, everywhere, yesterday being celebrating as we did last year, the Geeta Patil ma'am and the team through IAP Gepat Communication, so that every year it is going extremely well. So with this, I really thank all our members of 50,000 who involved in spreading the knowledge about the obesity to across, not only to our own children, across the globe, because our President Neelam, who has brought a very distinguished professor, Professor Supan Tripan Garuna. Madam, it is a great pleasure to invite you. If I want to introduce to August audience, I think it will take a day for me, because such a great eminent personality from Thailand, where she did in a great university of Thailand, Vidya University, the big part is she is from Royal College of Melbourne, where she did her gastroenterology. And with this, she came back to his native place, Alberta, in the same university. Now she is the professor of pediatrics, heading the division of pediatric gastroenterology and also hepatology. And like our president, she is more towards liver transplant and all that. And more than that, she is her credential, not only in academics. If I start telling about her academic credential or their publication, she has done more than 101 publication. She has written nearly 8 pediatric books and authored so many chapters in various books. It is her academic part. Coming to her administrative, she is assistant dean of academics in this prestigious university where she is working. Apart from that, she is the president of Fishpagal, where in Thailand and other thing, she was where the treasurer, and Appagan, she was the president. She has been in various executive committee. And if I start telling more, madam, we want to hear from you. It is real, and you are the fittest person, even by look, and also your speciality, where you have to give a lot of advice to our own children of India, so that we talk will be spread to all our pediatrician through YouTube, and it will be there in our website so that your talk will be more effective too. And we are grateful to have an honor for our prestigious associate to have you as a chief guest. Over to you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am, for giving this opportunity to introduce such a great personality. Over to Span, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. It's an honor for us to have Dr. Supon with us. Ma'am, I would kindly request you to share your thoughts on this occasion of World Obesity Day. Over to you, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you so much for the kind introduction. Dear distinguished colleagues, respected committee, and dear friends, it is a great honor to join you today to address one of the most urgent health challenges facing children worldwide, childhood obesity. I would like to thank Dr. Neelam Mohan, the President of Indian Academy of Pediatrics, for the kind invitation. Dr. Neelam also served as the Council Committee of FISPAGAN, and she's been working very actively for FISPAGAN for children worldwide. I also appreciate the important leadership of colleagues here in India for this initiative, which contribute to global efforts to address this critical issue. Childhood obesity has become a global public health crisis affecting children in every region of the world. A historic shift has occurred. For the first time in history, the number of children and adolescents living with obesity has surpassed the number who are underweight globally. Today, approximately 1 in 10 school-age children worldwide, about 188 million children, live with obesity. In addition, about 35 million of children under 5 are already affected by overweight or obesity. This trend represents a major threat to the health and future of the next generation. Children with obesity face higher risk of many diseases, including type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular disease, and metabolic associated cirrhotic liver disease. Many also experience psychological distress and social stigma. Importantly, childhood obesity often continues into adulthood, leading to long-term health complications and premature mortality. However, childhood obesity is not simply the result of individual behavior. It is driven by complex environmental and societal factors. Today's children grow up surrounded by energy-dense foods, aggressive marketing, and increasingly sedentary lifestyles. For this reason, addressing childhood obesity requires urgent, coordinated, and multi-sectorial action. As emphasized in the FISPAGAN statement for World Obesity, we call on governments, healthcare professionals, parents, school, and industry leaders to work together to protect children from the growing epidemic of obesity. Healthcare professionals play a critical role. We must monitor growth carefully, guide families towards a healthy nutrition and healthy lifestyle, and limiting excessive screen time, and advocate for policies that support healthier environments for children. At the policy level, we must protect children by regulating the marketing of unhealthy food to children, improving food labeling policies, and reducing socio-economic barriers to healthy livings. On this World Obesity Day, FISPAGAN called for stronger global collaboration to combat childhood obesity. We invite colleagues and professional societies around the world to join this effort by sharing FISPAGAN educational resources and advocacy materials. So you already see the video from FISPAGAN. This is one of the example of our educational material. So please visit the FISPAGAN website and help disseminate these resources through your professional network and communities. Together, through education, advocacy, and policy reform, we can change the trajectory of this epidemic and secure a healthier future for children worldwide. Let us act today for a healthier tomorrow. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Supon, and thank you so much, Singravelu. Over to Swati to invite Dr. Vasant. Is he there? Dr. Vasant Kalatkar? If
I
he's
think sir
not
is
there,
not there.
yeah, I would
Okay.
like to thank a lot, Supon, for taking out time for us today. And I did not want to give a great message because I knew that there is so much which the video would convey about the statistics and what you would have to say for us to work together. We in India, sadly, have now, especially in the cities, as high as 7 to 8% obesity. And in some of the cities, it's going above 10%. This is a rising alarm to all of us because we now have a triple burden. What I mean by triple burden is while we were struggling to discuss about undernutrition and the hidden hunger, which is like iron deficiency, anemia, and other B12, vitamin D, other vitamin A deficiencies. Now we are at a crossroad, and at this crossroad in India, we have malnutrition on both the sides with undernutrition here and overnutrition and obesity. And as highlighted by you, with the excess marketing and the availability of cheaper food, which is actually the processed foods, etc., are more cheaper than the vegetables, fruits, etc. There is a tendency in the society, and even in districts and all, and rural population also now has come up to more than 3% of overweight and obesity. So we pediatricians who've joined today have a major responsibility and role to play, because before we realize this is going to be a tsunami which is going to just, engage the whole world with the rising non-communicable diseases in the form of NCDs and diabetes and liver disease. We'll discuss that more. But I would like to unveil certain material which we have also sent to our pediatricians. May I request Sadi to have a curtain so that the two presidents, Dr. Singravelu, myself, along with the VPs, and Dr. Ruchira and Dr. Alok, and our VPs, Devender, Sukanta, Sandeep, Jose, Arakala, all of you have to join together, and our respected past president Upendra, who's joined us. Let us join together to unveil certain more facts in this. So let's unveil together.
Thank you,
We
madam.
unveil.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you. So
Thank you all.
can you share the slides? Yes.
I, Dr. Neelam Mohan, on World Obesity Day, 4th March, commit that a healthy childhood is the foundation of a healthy adult life. It is extremely important for us to work on prevention of overweight and obesity in children so that they are healthy adults. Let me share a hard truth. It's actually the childhood obesity which is rising rapidly, and that leads to adulthood obesity. Today, nearly 1 in 10 school-going children in urban India and some cities as high as 1 in 5, they are overweight or obese. This is not just about appearance. Obese children are much higher risk for future health issues like diabetes, fatty liver disease, blood pressure, heart disease at a younger age. Therefore, obesity in children is often understood as baby fat, which is not true. Government of India is trying to tackle this crisis. They are talking about the Eat Right campaign, the school health programs, focus on improving child nutrition, reducing the junk food, and promoting physical activity in school. And as pediatricians, we emphasize early growth monitoring, lifestyle counseling, and family-based interventions because the entire family approach needs to be changed. So childhood obesity is preventable and many cases reversible if you address it early and adequately. So parents, you can make a difference. Encourage 1 hour of activity a day. Limit the screen time. Reduce sugary drinks and ultra-processed foods, maida, etc. Promote home-cooked, balanced meals and lead by example.
So the slogan that we have given is not act, but as the president, I changed the slogan to act now. Act now is A for assess BMI percentile, C for counsel family-centered lifestyle change. There is no point just talking to the patient if you're not addressing the family. T for treat the comorbidities, because I never see pediatricians asking for a liver test, and obese people have 38 to 45% of incidence of fatty liver. And the other, we are going to discuss about the other comorbidities, which is, like sugar, dyslipidemias, etc. D, that is the act. And now, nutrition first. One of the first things we're going to talk about, and we have a great panel to talk, and we will talk about why we should optimize activity and sleep, and why we should watch the growth trajectory. And the other reading material that we have disseminated across, I request all of you all to take this as a challenge. Next, please. To take this as a challenge, that is the policies which are there to combat childhood obesity. There are problems. The government is working, and we are talking about the nutrition policy, the school health, the physical activity, the food regulation activity. All of them are working, and this is what we are doing to reduce childhood obesity and NCD like diabetes, hypertension, heart, and the adult population to make it healthier. Next. So all the professional bodies, it's not only the Indian Academy of Pediatrics, but I think I made phone calls today from Central IP, but wonder how many have joined from each. I ensured that we are able to communicate people, whether they belong to the nutrition group, the adolescent group, the environmental group, the IYCF group, because as we know, breastfeeding is protective. And that's how there are so many chapters who are working in India. And we want all these chapters to come together, and the NCD prevention, all of them need to come together to do this, because right now the major problem is all of us are working in our own space, and the voice is not becoming a noise. To make it a proper message, we need to all come together. Next. So IAP and Dr. Ruchira has worked to produce do's and don'ts for this flyer, which is being disseminated to all the pediatricians on the basics, where we are talking about junk, sedentary, and not routinely and advised genetic, and the role of other. But we will discuss more about this in the panel discussion that will follow soon. Thank you, Swati.
Thank you, ma'am. So, to mark this day, we are having a panel discussion with a brilliant multidisciplinary panelists. consisting of endocrinologists, psychologists, and nutrition activists. So I will
Fourth,
invite the
commit that
panelists for today.
a healthy childhood.
Okay. To begin with, Dr. Upendra Kinchwadikar, sir, the past president of IIP 2023. He's very active in nutrition. And Dr. C. Nirmala, ma'am, she is a HOD of Department of Pediatrics from Sikandrabad. And Dr. Shailaja Mane, she is a famous adolescent physician from Pune. Dr. Ravindra Kumar, pediatric endocrinologist from Delhi. Dr. Hemchand P, pediatric endocrinologist from Chennai. Dr. Swati Ghate, child psychologist from Jaipur. So these are our panelists for the day. Welcome you all. And who else can be better suited to be the moderator for this session than our very own president, Dr. Neelam Mohan ma'am. She's passionate public health voice in the field of nutrition. And as a president, she's rolling out around 200 workshops related to nutrition, which speaks of a passion towards nutrition and vision to reach each and every pediatrician to bring about the impact in the nutritional status of children of India. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Swati. And our panelists that she's introduced, there is a diversity. And can I just make sure who all have joined us from the super specialities, the calls that we were going, who is there from the NCPD chapter besides Nirmala? You can raise your voice.
Dr. Umesh ji is there, Dr.
No,
Upendra
I
sir.
mean the president and secretary and treasurers, we called each one of them. Did they join us? Right. From the IYCY chapter?
Nirmala, you are president. You can.
Yeah, Nirmala is the president.
I am from NCDPA.
Right.
And Dr. Umesh ji is the vice chair. Shailaja is the president-elect.
The nutrition chapter, Dr. Jagdish Chandra, Ajay Kumar Gaur, are you all there? And Dr. From the gastroenterology, Nirmala and Nishant. Environmental chapter. So why am I taking these names? You all can guess it. That is the major problem that we are facing. And I need my extreme panelist to guide how we can solve this issue nationally. Where are we going wrong? Why are we not able to work together on a theme which says 8 billion reasons, meaning everybody in the world to join? And if the associations will not come together, we cannot reach where we want. That was a humble plea. Nirmala, now to you, I have to ask a very basic question that I would ask a pediatrician. As a pediatrician, if you're wearing, you're in a busy practice as a pediatrician, what is it that we expect a pediatrician to do? What would you do so that in today's day, when I want to address overweight, obesity, what is it that a pediatrician can do?
Yeah, thank you, ma'am, for the invite. In a busy pediatrician, we see babies right from birth till 18 years of age and beyond as well. So whenever we have the child visiting us, we have to need to measure and plot the weight and height of these children so that we know the trajectories, and between 5 to 18 years we need to plot the BMIs so that we pick up very early the growth charts, whether there is a appropriate weight gain or there is the percentile lines are jumping or they are falling. So that early detection and early intervention will go a long way. So this is BMI charts are a very important screening tool. Even in a busy OPD practice, we can monitor the weight and height, and then see the three lines that which are there, which show one is undernutrition, one the orange colored, it is color coded, which shows there is overweight, and whenever there's a red line, it means that obesity. So so we often use all the growth charts in the pediatric practice, which helps us pick up very early.
So, like it's not possible to do in everyday practice. So your basic message, how frequently do you need the BMI recording?
So at least annually you do it, and whenever there are risk factors, you do it every 6
So what
months.
do you mean by risk factor?
See, whenever there's a family history, whenever they come down, you talk about a targeted history of family history, the dietary history, and then how the plotting the weight charts. So if there is any family history of NCDs like diabetes and hypertension, the child will be at a higher risk. See, if there is one family member who is having an NCD, particularly diabetes, there is an increased percentage of risk for the child. Even hypertension. So if one parent is affected or both the parents are affected, so these are at risk factors. Similarly, if you see that the BMI percentile charts are jumping up over the percentiles over a short period of time, then there is a high risk that you need to record the blood pressure at the same time, the monitor, and look for early warning signs in these children.
Three things that you wanted them to do. What way? The three things that in a busy practice the pediatrician should do.
One is plotting of the growth charts and the plotting of BMI. The second thing is lifestyle. Ask about the eating habits, the dietary habits, as well as any sugary drinks to avoid the junks, and how is the screen time should be limited to less than 2 hours. So that, and also how is the sleep hygiene. So, and also the physical activity, at least 60 minutes in a day. So based on this, you can identify early.
Besides that, let us go to Himchand. What do you think about the waist circumference? Like the pediatricians, we've been teaching them, and they've reached a stage where the pediatrician says that he or she wants to do, the growth chart monitoring and the BMI chart monitoring. What would be your message as an endocrinologist? What is your importance to waist circumference, and what would you want them to do besides this, what they are doing, like monitoring, and a little bit they look at the family with the mother or father who are they obese, and and ask, are you diabetic in the family? Because we were taught to do this. So we've adjusted in our busy practice to ask this. But besides that, if do you think it is essential to do waist circumference? And I had something about an extended BMI. What do you mean by that extended BMI, and why we should do waist circumference?
Thank you, ma'am. I think the Indian Academy of Pediatrics has been doing phenomenal work in crushing the tide of obesity. As Madam said, identifying that the child has an elevated BMI using a conventional BMI chart would be the first step to identify a child at risk. Step number 2 would be to complement the BMI assessment with a waist circumference measurement. Waist circumference is measured horizontally in the standing position at the right ilium at the end of expiration to the nearest 0.1 centimeters with a stretch resistant tape, and it is plotted of the Indian waist circumference charts which are provided on the Indian Academy of websites. All pediatricians, please download these charts and use it in your office day-to-day practice. An accurate measurement plotting on lines of the recommendation of the Indian Academy of Pediatrics at the point of intersection of the age on the x-axis and the measure on the y-axis, and to see if the child has a waist circumference above the 70th percentile. I repeat, quote unquote, 70th percentile. When you identify these children having a waist circumference at such a lower percentile, you identify the cardiometabolic risk and you crush the tide of metabolic risk with aggressive lifestyle modification measures. So that would be the second complementary step. And the extended BMI charts. Extended BMI charts, again, an innovative tool provided by the Indian Academy of Pediatrics, available on the IAP website, where 2 additional percentile lines above the obesity cutoff have been included. It helps us stratify and understand the degree of obesity. It's very common to be seen in office practice, adolescents weighing 100 kilos, young children weighing 75 kilos, etc. When you measure their BMI and plot it on the extended BMI charts, where you have 2 additional percentile lines, that is class 2 obesity when the BMI is above the 35 adult equivalent, and class 3 obesity when it's above 40 kg per meter squared adult equivalent, you identify class 3 and class 2 obesity. This helps to understand and put the perspective in the parents, see how obese the child is. And from a physician's perspective, we also understand that intervention, aggressive tertiary care interventions like medication, surgery, etc., comes into picture once the adolescent or the child falls above level 3 obesity. So these are the 2 innovative
So
tools
we've
which
understood
pediatricians.
today, your message was very clear. You said to us that right now we are struggling, we are wanting. My predecessors, my previous IAP presidents kept insisting that we are not looking into our charts, growth charts. And here we are able to last decade working on making them understand about growth charts. But now we want them not only the growth chart, a simple growth chart. So therefore, having an app may be useful, and IAP is soon going to provide you with that app. And that is what the 2 experts highlighted. That is, they want you to get a BMI and a weight circumference, and in the BMI they want you to identify class 2 and class 3. That was very, very useful messages that you went. And I think the 3 things that Nirmala pointed out, she said one was growth, so I assume in the growth she means the growth chart, weight, height, BMI and waist. And then she said she wants to have a quick look at the parents, whether they were obese or they had this thing. And she said, I want to know about the diet and nutrition. So when I want to talk about the diet, Dr. Upendra, I want to understand from you, in your busy practice, how should a pediatrician assess diet in a practice while the child is coming to him for cold, cough, vaccination, whatever? How should you smartly assess the diet and the nutritional status?
Yeah, thank you so much, Dr. Neelam. And first of all, my congratulations to you and your team for conducting this wonderful webinar and inviting Dr. Supwan for addressing us today. Thank you. Going ahead with this, I think very important to understand. You are time and again saying in a busy schedule, I completely understand. Though post-COVID, all of us are not that busy as we used to be before 2020. But still, given a time constraint, we should have the best utilization of that. And whatever assessment that we have to do, the ABCD remains everywhere. The A stands for anthropometry. It's been elaborated upon. I just want to stress on one important thing. The child never becomes obese without crossing the overweight line. The child never goes to SAM without crossing the MAM line. So important for the pediatricians to realize that they have to pick this child up before even the overweight line is crossed. Forget the obesity. I am not here to talk about obesity. We have to prevent that overweight chart. That is much more correctable and preventable, and at least you can bring them back to normalcy. And after obesity, it becomes really difficult. Forget the extended growth charts and what we are talking about. So that is the first and foremost. So anthropometry, let's do it. Weight, length, weight for height, and BMI. All are equally important. Just don't stop at weight. And initially on the vaccination, you said how frequently. Vaccination is the perfect time. Till 5 years, you can keep on doing that. After 5 years, annually, and then some special class of patients twice a year is good enough. B stands, that is A, anthropometry. B is biochemistry. We do not do biochemistry for each and every child. I don't want to know vitamin A level, vitamin C level, or vitamin D level. In a particular subset of patients who have certain signs, I'm going to ask for tests. So B is not for routine day-to-day practice. Let's forget about it. It's a complete answer. C becomes important. Clinical examination, because I want to have all of us know that obesity is also associated with so many deficiencies. So we have to understand if the given child who is already obese or crossing the overweight line, whether he is already developing certain signs. So a thorough clinical examination is of utmost importance of every child, of course, and then these obese children much more. And finally, D is dietary history. I have show every child because I have that page of no child, the Indian recommendations, National Institute of Nutrition, a wonderful food plate that we have. I just display it in front of them and just ask one question. Though theoretically, you may say a 24-hour dietary recall or a midweek recall is best, but I just ask yesterday, what did you eat? Simple question to an obese child or overweight child or to a normal child also. And just ask them about which vegetable. And then I close and ask, just tell me 3 green leafy vegetables that you know. Zero, not even one. Somebody just talks about methi and beyond methi or palak, and then they stop. They don't are not even aware. So we have to make it sure that children are eating these vegetables, leaf, and the fruits, and then of course show them the food plate and what constitutes that food plate. They are not aware. It is not roti and chapati or rice. That is a staple food that all of us are consuming for years without understanding that it is the micronutrients which comes from vegetables and fruits. They are the ones who are going to prevent my obesity. They are the ones who are going to give me satiety. They are the ones who are going to prevent me from overeating. So that is how I display it in front of them. And immediately within 1 or 2 minutes, I understand this family is perfect. Probably they're going on the right track, or this family is probably not. And they come out, sir, every day one Parle G pack. Oh, no, just one Bonvita and then this and that. And then you understand everything. So I think overall, if you can just show that, display the normal food plate, ask them to touch honestly, you will come to know whether the child is on the right track or not. So this ABCD becomes very easy in a given short span of time that you have to assess the child.
What I often see is that we've just been able to communicate to the pediatricians and they've started getting the concept of calories. But beyond that, I mean, with due apologies, it is even the postgraduates who come to us and our colleagues, how are you able to impress that the parents, how should they convey that it's not focus on calories but the food quality? I mean, that is the message that we want to go. It is not the meal timings, I mean, but what are the snacking and the quality of the food that they need to say. So if you can tell us for a pediatrician that this is what 1, 2, 3 you ask, and if they are able to understand besides calorie, how do they put it?
I think that's very important and very practical. That kind of message has to come from a pediatrician. Again, the food plate comes to your rescue. I think, again, Dr. Neelam, let's understand we are completely a cereal-based country. We are overemphasizing on cereals, and I just want to shift even that focus also, that let's stop talking about only wheat and rice as our cereals, and let's introduce millets upfront from our side. We are not even talking, it is India which gave us the Shri Dhanya, which is called, that millets are so very essential and important. And if you are talking about obesity, all the more important to understand, are you having jowar, are you having bajra, are you having the little millet, finger millet, so on and so forth. So millets are so very essential. They are not costly. I understand they are not very tasty too. You have to develop taste, but it is recommended at least start off with once a week. Are you doing that? And then introduce it and go on introducing. So maybe one meal a day you should have millets. So cereals, though it is an important part, we must introduce the pediatricians at very young age to start talking about millets. So that's about cereals. The pulses, we always know that we are there, and then there is an alternative of non-vegetarian. The pediatrician need not be judgmental. Let me be very honest. Some of us become more strict vegetarians. They just, oh, why, please don't shift to vegetarian. We are not here to tell them. Come on, let them follow whatever they have to do. And then you have to just understand, when you're talking about non-vegetarian as a good source of protein, just tell them, dear, non-vegetarian food does not have any fiber, almost zero fiber in any non-vegetarian. The moment you have one egg, you understand, and you also have along with it tomato, you have carrot, you have spinach, you have something else from a salad group, which will ensure, because the healthy gut microbiota, how can I tell you, you are the gastroenterologist, you know the importance of gut microbiota, but we are just addressing pediatricians in general here, that is so very essential that we have to, whenever there is a non-vegetarian food, you have to, in the same breath, it has to go that, okay, you continue to have, but please ensure that you have good amount of fiber along with it. Then you're talking about half of our food plate has to be vegetables and fruits. We are not even understanding. Let us keep hand here and say how many of us actually following this. So again, and it is not fruits and vegetables, it is vegetables and fruits. For us adults also, the recommendation is 400 grams of vegetables and only 100 gram of food. So one large banana is good enough, it's 100 grams. But 400 grams of vegetables divided into three parts. It is the salad part which is there, the green leafy vegetable is there, and other vegetables. So all these three together.
Saji, mute everybody. Good, Saji. Just mute everyone. The speakers will unmute. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, so vegetables and fruits we were talking about. So 400 grams, it's extremely difficult, not easy to have. So the parents have to have role model, Neelam. We must understand that are the parents themselves eating? I recommend all parents to take their child for shopping and buying that. So let me see something green, something yellow, something red. Three signal colors are good enough. Red, yellow, and green. Every child understand those colors and start introducing these three colors first, and don't go on expanding your rainbow. Then they understand later on. Involve them washing, cutting in some decoration. So vegetables are so very important. Unless they are decorative, it is considered that we eat with our eyes first, then by our mouth. So it has to have that wonderful appearance. And then comes fruits. Again, fruits people don't eat. And the only vegetable here I'm talking about, but let me give a loud and clear message. Potato does not become a part of vegetable. Dr. Saab सिर्फ आलू की सब्जी खाता है, वो चलेगा क्या? No, it will not चलेगा. So it is not at all comes. It's a starchy vegetable, which is actually starchy carbohydrate you must talk about. So let's not encourage patients or children to have more and more of potato because अरे कोई सब्जी तो जाती है तो potato is good enough. Not at all. So let's encourage on that. And then the rest of the things do follow along with it. The cereals, the pulses, and of course, we cannot forget some part of dairy if they are having. But dairy cannot go on having because all of us know more milk consumption, more anemia, and this obese children have all the more these all challenges. So I think very important. And finally, the only good drink is water. We must understand, and one must have. Just forget about buying anything. Your fridge should not have none of the Coke, Pepsi. Forget even our Indian fruity, everything. All of us know, understand that. So as you involve children into buying, you involve them into cooking, and very young age, boys and girls though have inherent tendency and they learn cooking, but I am a strong proponent of teaching boys very early of cooking. Nobody should die of hunger, and everybody should be well prepared to cook it, because that is essential life-saving skill, I must say. Cooking one must understand. So if they start doing that, I think by 5 to 6 years of age, if the the children see their parents doing all that, parents are physically active, they are regularly going for a walk, playing badminton, going for swimming. Why would these children lag behind? I think that is how it is a wholesome lifestyle what we are talking about.
That was really, really useful. And I'll come back to you later on for another round. But Doctor, we have Ravinder here. Dr. Ravinder, who's also an endocrinologist and is the secretary of the endocrine chapter. So they just taught me, and I took there was a child who was 12 years. I did a BMI. The BMI is 23, and then the waist circumference. But what I want to give a message is every child should have a BP recording, at least, if not, people say that once in 3 years. But those who are high risk, like overweight and obese, try to see, like Upendra said, anthropometry, whatever, once in a while, once a year, he said subsequently, unless they're high risk, then twice. I would insist that we should do BP. And this BP of this child turned out to be, say, 128 by 88. So my question to you, Dr. Ravinder, is that number one, if there is, this child has a little 128 by 88, and I said BMI for 12 years was 23. What should I do in that visit? And what should I counsel the parents? Or how would you approach a child like this?
That's a very good point, Dr. Neelam, and what you have raised because these are the comorbidities which should be screened on every visit. As you said, after 3 years, there is a recommendation BP should be measured nowadays. I mean, even in pediatric OPD, even if he is not obese, but if he is touching, that borderline of blood pressure, for example, you said it is a 12-year-old, so okay, 120/80 will be somewhere near normal, but still, because it is an obese patient, so just keep on monitoring because if it is going, systolic is going more than what is the age appropriate BP, which has to be calculated as per the age appropriate range, and every pediatrician should have that chart in his office practice and in his OPD. Just calculate with that. If it is touching with that, that is okay, fine. If it is normal. However, if it is going more than that, then it has to be screened again on two more visits just to confirm that patient is having hypertension or not. And if found to be hypertension, this yes, appropriate therapy has to be started. And apart from that, other comorbidities should be screened because the patient, if is having obese and having one comorbidity, may have some other comorbidity also.
You want to look for other comorbidities. So one message you told me is I should not believe. I should have made the child comfortable, repeat the readings and not jump it to because it was so very well said. You can always tell the parents to repeat it, whatever anxiety. See, but if persistently they found out to be, what is it on examination that I should see and get really worried? Oh my God, this child has this. What is that?
Sorry, I didn't get your
I said,
answer.
what is it that I should look on the neck and get worried?
Well, if it is obesity, you have to see is there any feature of insulin resistance. And what you are probably trying to see, you just have to see the acanthosis nigricans, which are the blotchy
Exactly.
spots
So the
on the
message
flesher
very
aspect.
clear.
On the flesher aspect of the body, it may be on the neck, on the arm, and on the, I mean, legs, everywhere. On all the flexor aspect, you should look for that. And then it came out to be that probably this patient is having insulin resistance also. And if you find all these things, then you have to screen for other parameters. And for that, very important will become the test of OGTT or oral glucose tolerance test as we do just to see patient is developing either pre-diabetes or diabetes. As we all know, if you one adult has to be screened for that, there is a 75 gram glucose has to be given. But in the pediatric practice, nothing is come as as a whole. Everything has to be as the per kg body weight. And in pediatric practice, if someone has to do the oral glucose tolerance test, it has to be 1.75 gram per kilogram of body weight of the monohydrate glucose. Anhydrous glucose, although anhydrous glucose is usually not available in day-to-day
Should just
practice.
do an HbA1c. We pediatrician don't want to love
HbA1c,
oral
no.
tolerance test. So what do you have to say to us?
No, no, ma'am. HbA1c, there is a still in pediatric practice, it is not that much utilized, number one. Number two, it has to be, standardized to the GCCT assay. Number three, it has to be the National Glycosylated Hemoglobin Program that it has to be standardized to that. So it may not be available in a smaller cities. So please do not rely on HbA1c directly and don't jump to that. It is better to do oral glucose tolerance test OGTT rather than jumping to the
What
HbA1c.
about just doing a fasting and a PP?
Ma'am, yes, fasting, if fasting sugar, if it is somewhere more than 100, means patient is having some pre-diabetic value, and if it is more than 126, then it is diabetes. However, PP, for example, again, PP, postparental is just not taking breakfast or a couple of chapatis. It has to be done with the estimated glucose load. And that glucose load, in case of the pediatric practice, it is 1.75 gram It is easier method because nowadays we lab is having that measuring weighing scale with them, and they will do it. And it turns about to when patient is of 45 kg or onwards, you can do with the 75 gram, as you have to do accordingly. Otherwise, readings may be falsely inappropriate.
Okay, another question is that normally when a parent comes and you see a obese child, so Dr. Nirmala thinks that it's the lifestyle. She thinks that, maybe the child's father was fat, and Upendra wants to see a biscuit in the hand, and he thinks it is a nutritional issue. But the first question the parents want to know is this nutritional or is this hormonal or genetic? How would you want a pediatrician to understand when to think hormonal or genetic? You're muted. Muted, Ravinder. If you
Okay.
can't, then
Absolutely, yeah.
I.
Absolutely brilliant, Dr. Neela. Ma'am, it is a million-dollar question, and it is very easy. As just my predecessor, they have told, just plot a IAP growth chart, put the weight and height also. If why height is appropriately in the same direction, for example, weight is 95th centile or 90th centile, and height is also in the same direction, maybe 75th to 80th and 90th centile, then you are relaxed, then most likely it is nutritional. In an endocrine or pathological obesity, the patient is always short and plump, means he is obese, and the height is also affected, means going into the reverse direction. Either patient is of short stature or height is going into the third centile or 10th centile. So this simple calculation will tell us that either we are going towards a pathological or endocrine obesity, or it is just a constitutional obesity. And everyone has to remember that this pathological obesity hardly constitutes 5 to 10%. In 90% of the cases, luckily, this is the constitutional obesity. However, if someone is less than 5 years of age and rapidly gaining weight, then we have to be very cautious because this is the monogenic type of obesity where we have to be very careful. Lots of genetic
When
testing will
should
be
a
required.
pediatrician refer to an endocrinologist and obese child?
When he has plotted on IIP growth chart number one, he knows this is the constitutional obesity, and he has given extensive lifestyle modification, means LSM, for a appropriate period of time, and that is close to somewhere 3 months to 6 months. And still, if he is not able to gain the his aim and objective, means still the BMI has not gone down 5 to 10%, then probably this is the time to refer to some
Dr.
specialist about.
Hemchand, I want to ask you when I see a child who is obese in today's era, when the whole world is worried about this global epidemic, what would be your message, Doctor? Doctor Upendra was worried. He said, do anthropometric, and he doesn't want to believe in B. He wants to jump to clinical examination because that's clinical, and then he wants to talk the dirt. But in my IAP slogan for anemia, because that was two-thirds of the children in India, I just said screen everybody for HB, because at least I will say 3 out of the 4 children is anemic. So I want to do screen HB for everybody because it is 50 rupees and I want to do. You have also told us as an endocrinologist, believe in congenital hypothyroidism. If you screen 1,000 thyroid, if you detect one, it was worth you prevented brain damage. Did you say that, Hemchand? Yes or no? You all say that even if you screen 1,000 and if you detect one, it is worth spending the money? Yes or
Definitely
no?
true.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am, that
Yes.
is.
So answer is over. So my question to you is that in today's era, if I am talking about the rising NCDs, Upendra wants to stay away from B blood. Where is it that you should not shy from asking bloods? When is it you want the to say that I want to, whether it is government. And I'm quite impressed. I'm traveling across the country and I'm surprised to see that in all government center, free testing, immunoglobulins are also being given free. So we've changed from the earlier days when we were so poor. Things are changing. And now with this urban countries having 10%, I don't want to believe when I said in my video 1 in 10, and in some cities 1 in 5 to 7 are getting overweight. I can be medically put behind bars if I don't do. So, what is your message to pediatricians to ask for bloods? Number one, what are the red flags you will see? A, B, what are the tests you will ask?
Thank you, ma'am. I think investigating a child with overweight and obesity is very, very clearly defined by the Indian Academy of Pediatrics guidelines.
We can't see you. Is your video off?
No, there is a problem with my bandwidth.
Oh, fair
So
enough.
I hope. So we are looking at three sets of investigations. Number one, endocrine investigations. Number two, assessment of cardiometabolic risk, and number three, assessment of comorbid states. Assessment of endocrine etiology, as sir rightly pointed out, presence of red flag signs: short stature, poor growth velocity, delayed puberty, precocious puberty, clinical clues like goiter would be the indication for doing an endocrine testing. All children with obesity and overweight need not be tested for an endocrine cause unless there are red flag signs. Number two, insulin level should not be measured to prove insulin resistance. It's a clinical diagnosis. Number three, to ascertain cardiometabolic risk, one would have to perform a lipid profile, preferably fasting, and assessment for diabetes. I think if you look at data on prevalence of lipid abnormalities and prevalence of sugar abnormalities, there is enough data from the Western world to tell us that identification of cardiometabolic risk factors in terms of high triglyceride level, sugar levels are going to track, and they are going to land up as early cardiometabolic risk and cardiovascular morbid states. So I think a fasting lipid profile and assessment for diabetes should definitely be considered in children who are overweight with risk factors in older children above 10 years and all obese children above 10 years. Below 10 years, I think one would have to perform a lipid profile and a sugar if the child is overweight with risk factors. So this would be the take home from the Indian Academy of Pediatric guidelines regarding performance of cardiometabolic risk factors: a fasting lipid profile, a sugar level, a fasting and a postprandial sugar level should definitely be done, and screening for a fatty liver by doing an SGPT should definitely be done in children who are above the age of 10 years of age.
So I was about to tell you, when was this guidelines published?
The Indian Academy of Pediatrics has come up with the obesity guidelines 2023.
Yeah, I was about to say, let's change the guidelines. And when you smartly realize that Dr. Neelam is here, and I want to give this message clear and crystal clear. I remember, thanks to Dr. Upendra, my president, when I was his EB 2023. He had done a meeting in Mumbai. Dr. Upendra, do you remember? There was this obesity meeting, and thank you so much. You gave me a topic on fatty liver, and you had called it NAFLD, and that time the things were changing to MASLD globally, and we were talking of that. And you said that you were mighty impressed with the statistics that I showed you. So I want to impress Ravinder and Himchan now that, as I said, 40% plus have fatty liver disease. And even in India, we are finding this. And why I need you to say is, once you have a liver abnormality, we are also finding scarring in them. Out of 150 obese children, our data was 40% had fatty liver with 2 times above liver test abnormal, and we could do only biopsies in 17 who had persistently abnormal beyond 3 to 6 months. Our criteria was, and there was fibrosis in one child, 9 years old, 3/4 fibrosis. So what happens is that while we are talking about this global epidemic, it is not that you are going to miss one or two. You will have to do liver enzymes and look for this also. And especially if I join my colleagues, if you find the acanthosis nigrans, the black in the neck or the parents which you see, then you know there is insulin resistant, then there is higher risk of fatty liver disease, diabetes, and lipid issue. So in them, I'm sure Upendra would agree with me that if he finds this in his child, he would do bloods. Upendra, do you agree with that?
Yeah, my answer to the biochemistry was
No,
general.
no, I'm just taking it along. So would you agree that if you had the, you spotted acanthosis and you spotted parents who were obese or had an history, then you would go ahead with bloods?
Of course, of course.
And so this is what. Now, when you talked about the bloods, say, Hemchand, back to you. What is it that you want to be getting excited with, LDL or HDL or total cholesterol?
I think as far as the biochemical lipid profile is concerned, I think triglyceride levels are supposed to have a very, very important, pertinent role in terms of the long-term well-being of the child as a young adult. So identification of hypertriglyceridemia is having a very important tracking modality resulting in early cardiovascular morbidity. So I think triglyceride levels are also a very important component in the definition of the metabolic syndrome. So I think triglycerides would be very important. From a pharmacological perspective, I think guidelines have been kind of shifting towards a threshold, optimal threshold of hypolipidemic medications in terms of triglyceride levels and LDL levels in the interest of the long-term well-being of the child.
Yes, so that was very useful. So now all of you pediatricians, I hope this message goes to all, how beautifully they've enlightened that you need to do the sugar. So my question to Ravinder is, should I do thyroid in all or no need?
Ma'am, just Dr. Heem has told us that the way in routine evaluation has to be done. And thyroid is one test which has been very much abused rather than the used in obesity. In the last decade, I have not found even a single patient of obesity if he's coming to my OPD at my hospital and from visited have some other pediatrician and not having thyroid test. So we have to understand in most of the cases, thyroid is not the cause of the obesity, rather it is the result of the obesity. If you look at the most of the time there is a mild elevated TSH, it may be 6 or 7, and people have started medication. So just my humble message to all of you that this elevated TSH is not the cause of the obesity, rather the result of the obesity. We should understand there are actually the two very important factors which raises the TSH, because when someone is having obesity, more of a adipose tissue, more leptin, they stimulate the hypothalamus to release the TRH, and that TRH acts on pituitary and making more TSH. Number one. Number two, because of the obesity, there is a little resistance to TSH. That is why this TSH is high. And if we look very carefully on these reports, they will be having higher T3 and T4 rather than the low in case of actual hypothyroidism.
No.
So
So
it
my
should not
question
be
now
done
to
routinely.
Shailaja Mane, we've heard endos. Shailaja, you are a very
Yes.
prominent pediatrician, being the HOD and DY Patel and doing a lot of work in adolescents and doing a lot of work. So my question to you is, for last 1 decade, I think you've been working in adolescents or more.
Yeah, more.
So in this time,
More since 2006.
more than, what is your message that you have seen a change in your practice, and for adolescent, this overweight, obese, I mean, I'm sure you never would have talked to them sleep and all this in your, 1.5 decades back. You had probably, I don't know what else to talk about. But today, besides the mental health, we'll leave that aside. Besides the mental health, what is it that Nirmala was saying that the three things she wanted to do? She said first, anthropometry, and immediately she wanted to know about the family lifestyle. And three, she wanted to know something more. And is it only for adolescents, or when and what is this importance that I should start talking about to parents about what is the sleep activity and all? What is the correlation? Do we have evidence, or just little indirect evidence that if you don't sleep, you're waking and seeing screen?
No, we are having more than enough evidence now. There are many multicentric trials, and that highlights the importance of good sleep and sleep hygiene as well. And quality and quantity of sleep is very important, and biological clock should be maintained. Many times parents are having late night, whatever work hours or whatever their routine is, and children tend to continue with that, and that disturbs entire sleep pattern of the children and biological clock also. So good sleep hygiene is very important to prevent the childhood obesity, because
Can you tell us
it
what is
regulates,
good sleep hygiene?
yeah, that I will just highlight first why it is important. It regulates the various hormones, because ghrelin is increased if sleep is not proper, poor quality of sleep. It increases the appetite, it reduces the leptin and reduces the, there is reduction in the leptin and it reduces the satiety. So overeating is there. And late night when children are awake, they tend to have unhealthy snacks and they consume lot of sugary foods and beverages, and have irregular meal timing also, and it disturbs the energy balance, and it again screen time exposure is more if they are awake late night. And it is important to have good sleep. What is good sleep is, it depends upon the age. When children are around 5 to around 5 up to 5 to 12 years, it is almost 10 hours a day, and in adolescents it is again more sleep it is required for the adolescents. And without, there should not be any screen time, at least minimum 1 hour, but guidelines say 2 hours before sleep, because blue screen reduces the melatonin and it can be harmful for the better quality of sleep. And if there is, it leads to increase in the insulin resistance also, and it can be harmful in various metabolic ways, which we have already discussed. So for 1 to 2 years, sleep advice is 11 to 14 hours, 3 to 5 years, 10 to 13 hours, 6 to 12 hours, 9 to 12 hours. But in adolescent, definitely they need proper sleep at night. And it is very important to, for the academic performances not only, but for the better quality of life in long run, and to prevent the NCDs as well.
Was quite useful. So what I want to ask you
Hello?
is that less than 5 years,
Hello?
they said I can't do BMI plotting. So how should I identify the high
Yes,
risk
yes.
in less than 5 years?
Yes, yes. Less than 5 years, because as early as possible, if we catch them, it is very easy. Not easy, but it is proper and a little bit easy to avoid the overweight and obesity. Less than 5 years, we are having beautiful WHO growth charts. And again, if there is family history of obesity, high, low birth weight, premature babies, thanks to excellent care of newborns in our country, our mortality had reduced. And we should follow the Fenton premature baby charts, growth charts. And again, all of us are highlighting about the proper charting at all ages. So if there is sudden increase in the crossing of the centile, it is harmful. And if there is while doing routine immunization also, we should take the history, how we should watch, observe the parents also, likely, because our children are the products of the family environment. So whenever they are coming for immunization, we should see whether they are having unhealthy lifestyle, and what is their routine, whether they are having physical activity as a family, and how is their eating pattern. All these are risk factors. So in children also, whenever we are having immunization up to 5 years, we should monitor the weight, and along with that, we should catch the time for the discussion with the parents as well. And another thing is screen time of the children, because these are all risk factors whether when they will become overweight and obese in near future. So family-based lifestyle modification is very important, and along with that, healthy promotion of exclusive breastfeeding till 6 months of age, and continuation till 2 to 5 years, and proper complementary food after 6 months of age. So primordial prevention and health education should be provided to the parents, and parents should be the role models to avoid the obesity
You
in
have
children.
been working so many years in school program, which I heard of. Do you think in the last decade, do you have any evidence that if you're consistent, did you work only in one school or several? And could you show any impact that if you worked at one school, does it really make a change where you expect a pediatrician not only to be a clinician but go as an advocate to a school and trying why did Upendra and me now are doing this? I mean, I'm launching the school and trying to connect to the ministry. I'm not really sure because we've shown that Singapore was one, and Japan, where they've really got these children in school and they did such a big impact. And, when we did the Triple S, hardly 300 schools, whatever, 500, I don't know the number. I mean, there's so much to do. It was a minuscule, but what is your evidence? It's going to take us decades. And what if you worked in one school, did you see any difference in that school overall? Yes or no?
Yeah, definitely. Because schools are the places where children are spending maximum time when they are awake. And we should tap that opportunity. And thanks to Dr. Upendra Kinzavdekar sir, many of us are part of SSS, Sankalpa Sampurna Swastha program. And through that, we had an opportunity. We are having that opportunity to go in many schools. And we are having ICMR research project also, through which we are looking after the comprehensive intervention and how it will give the impact. So in the schools, as a pediatrician, we are having multiple roles for the advocacy and education, particularly of students. Then we are having role for the teachers, community, parent awareness program, even school canteen. Because I was a part of IAP, NCD pilot project, and school canteen, really it had given impact. And I have worked at that time in only two schools we were targeting. And after 6 months also, it was giving excellent impact, because in the canteen we requested him just to provide healthy options like chaj, panna, whatever healthy options related to fruit
So
dish.
because of shortage of time, I will have to wind up the next 5 minutes. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
And last but not the least, Swati Ghate. What I want to say is, in our busy practice, we are just talking of A, B, C, D. But beyond A, B, C, D, how to reach M. And where are we going wrong when we look at a child and just think him to be or her to be obese and are discussing ye liver karo, ye cholesterol karo, ye BP check karo, ye karo. We are all busy in that. What is it that you want to tell the pediatricians? What is the first question? What is the association between obesity and mental health issues? Number one, let me ask you first that before I ask you the second question.
Okay, thank you, madam. Thank you so much. So there is a multifactorial and a bidirectional association between obesity and mental health concerns. We all know that depression causes obesity and obesity causes depression. As the obese children move in the society, they experience some very bitter experiences like teasing and bullying, and they start avoiding themselves in social milieu. They also
to
have
do something new because all our pediatricians are smart, they know all this. Something new you want to say, or I jump up to the next question is what do you
just
want?
a minute. I
What
want to tell
eye should a pediatrician have what you want us to do and not to do. Both you tell us do's and don'ts for a pediatrician.
Yes. So when pediatricians are looking at an obese patient, they should also look proactively for his mental health. So we should not just look at the acanthosis. We should also do something like a mental status examination. How the child is looking, whether he is making an eye contact, whether he is camouflaging with something and like he is avoidant, whether he is looking in a low mood. We should proactively ask questions to his parents, whether he is like talking something negative about his body image, whether he is avoiding social interactions, whether he is not coming forward in front of the camera and avoiding photos. And also whether there are certain very simple tools which pediatricians can use, like for teenagers, there is this teenage screening questionnaire, mental health. Then there is pediatric symptom checklist, or some small tools can be used to assess the overall mental health of children. Then for adolescents, we do a great history taking in the form of head assess, wherein we can ask very simple open-ended questions about his body image, like how do you feel when you look into the mirror? How is your mood generally on a scale of 1 to 10? Such simple questions could be like asked to him. Firstly, pediatrician has to give him an assurance that this is a safe space for him to open up. So, and then only we can be able to help him. So this is then probably we can start talking by normalizing. I generally talk with all my patients about their weight, their height, and their stress. Is it okay if I talk about this with you? So this is how we can open the silence about the mental health and address their mental health concerns. Then we should also validate feelings, like whatever he is expressing, you should say that, yes, I understand. This must be really hard for you when people tease you, when your classmates are teasing you for your weight. And then we have to shift on to something like positive in his life. How about when you go for your hobby, music? How about your teachers? Maybe something like that. Then we have to give him some smart goals, because unless we make a handshake on these all issues, we are not going to get compliance from him regarding his weight reduction.
For a pediatrician, if you want to say when should I refer to a psychologist or a psychiatrist, with tools, I mean, what should I don't want to get details, but I just want you to tell me when should I refer to a psychologist, because obviously that before they get into medicines, because there are a lot of medicines which give rise to constipation, obesity, etc. So do you think we should refer all of these people, or what is it? When should I refer to a mental health expert?
See, psychological assessment is mandatory for all the obese children at regular intervals. If we are not able to do it, let us take in loop a psychologist. But if that is being addressed, then if there is a persistent low mood or a lot of reduction in the functionality, socialization, falling grades, not being able to sleep and eat well, all these things like are red flags. And if these things are persistent for more than 2 weeks, it is the time to intervene. Also, if our screening tools are telling us that yes, he has a lot of concerns and his scores are high on depression, anxiety, binge eating, or other issues, then also we have to give a targeted psychological intervention. For those who are having suicidality, for those who are having comorbidities like probably substance abuse, media addiction, or a bulimia sort of a thing, these are the patients who need psychiatrist intervention. So these are the
that was very clear. Thank you so much. And I think you will all agree we had an amazing panel today. I mean, I would have loved to go on, but I hope some other specialities have joined us. I mean, I would sum up what my panelists said, but with my folded hands, my all EBs who are still here, because I can see that I requested and more than 130, and I can see all my EBs, Dr. Umesh Kurana, Arup, Himabindu, Ganesh Kulkarni, and Naren Sharma ji, Arvind, Shalini Basin. So many of you all are here, Renu Alok. So most of you all, I am just saying my EBs. I sincerely will give the best, the whatever award can come in my mind to someone. I really feel that I want to get all the societies together. I mean, how do I reach? We've sent 50,000 meals. And I've been asked consistently by my team, Madam, both meals bedre, one of the persons said, we've sent meals for anemia, we've sent nutrition, we've sent this. How else can I do differently? I've connected to a group called Meet Dut, and I've connected to the branch presidents and all. But I request my EBs with my folded hand. If you can become in your states the messengers to bring about a change, only then we can bring a change. We leadership will not be able to do without the support of everybody, whether it is the nutrition chapter, whether it is the NCD chapter, whether it is the IYCD chapter, gastroenterology, nutrition chapter, environmental chapter, and the adolescent health chapter. You need to realize all of you are pediatricians. If there is an activity in central IAP, we need to promote the central IAP activity rather than promote our own chapter's activity. I'm sure you would agree on this, that we need to work together. So the theme that was an emotional burst that I had. But today, I really want to thank my panelists, Dr. Upendra, Dr. Nirmala,
Neelam, can I
Dr.
add before thanks?
Shailaja Mani, 1 minute, Shailaja Mani, and Ravindra and Hemchand, that I thanking you. We said that it is time to act now on childhood obesity. Why we are saying this is because we want to bring about a long-term impact on the health of the society, and it is eventually going to be an economic thing for the country. And if you love your country, it is the physical health, the morbidity, the mortality, the cardiovascular disease, the diabetes, type 1, now type 2 diabetes is seen in children. The commonest liver disease in children is the metabolic associated liver disease that we are seeing. There is escalation of cardiovascular disease in young adults, resulting in
Very
cardiac
nice program
associated
going on.
diseases and
Very good
stroke.
program.
Mute everybody. So there is escalation of the cardiovascular disease in young adults. There is rising liver disease. There is early onset diabetes. There is mental health and social impact, which Swati highlighted, with low self-esteem, social stigma, etc., bullying, depression, anxiety, economic burden. So we showed so many reasons that we need to act together. And I, at a policy level, would like to comment that besides all what everybody said, I would request all of us to come together. I think I'm going to do probably an obesity conclave or a nutrition conclave, an obesity conclave soon, where we will invite all the chapters together so that we can work together. And along with it, I'm requesting the pediatricians like Dr. Umesh there and the Shelja who are in their school. I request all of you to become advocates and to do the school. And we have now the school health project, and our convener is going to be Ramesh Vijani with a huge team, Dr. Somashekar and all. Deepak Pandey, we have worked in and without any criticism, like we always need to march forward in life and keep changing the guidelines and moving like our growth charts. Similarly, we've marched ahead in Triple S program. Whatever we thought was in Triple S program, we've changed it. We've got two more names to it. Tejas or Ojas, we are thinking about these two names to finalize it. And what we want to talk about is, besides the nutrition, talk about the mental health issues, the environment and that, and made it a little more impact talking about it. So just a little extra version of that, which I am now coming out on this day, and soon we will inaugurate that. And I request all the pediatricians that we need to work together to be as advocates in school, as highlighted by them together. The leadership can only spend money and support. Yes, for the school health project, we have kept a huge amount aside. We will be able to support for a bit of the travel allowance. Each branch will be given some this which they can, but in the end, it is the passion that comes from the panelists that you saw, from your heart, from your liver, from your circulation. That passion should drive you towards achieving this goal. And with that, I would like to thank on behalf of everyone once again, Dr. Ruchira, our secretary, Dr. Alok, and the vice presidents, president-elect, past president, the EB members. On behalf of them, we want to thank you for giving your time today into this. And Dr. Shailaja Mani, I guess it was you who wanted to speak something. Was it you?
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
over to
I
you
just want
before
to
I
tell
hand
that
over to
we have,
NOC
we
and
have
Dr.
prepared sugar chart in SSS, but we have prepared this fat chart. I'm not able to show it properly, but we have prepared, our team had prepared the fat chart, and there are oil is kept, how many spoons of oil is there, how many grams, and similarly salt chart also we have prepared. So I will like to request
Thank
you
you
all
so much.
that
So they have prepared a basic, because we took a long time in that. There was lots going on, as you could see in that. Yesterday we launched the research wing. I mean, developing with all the experts giving their views and all. And now we will have all the people who were involved in the Triple S. They will be shown what is being done, so that it is together we are moving forward in an theoretically in a revised and one. But we, as you rightly said, we want to talk about the sugar board, we want to talk about the salt board, we want to talk about the activity, we want to talk about the screen, we want to talk about the mental, and we want about plastics and water. So we made a little advancement into that, so that there are 8 million reasons for us. So 1.4 crore reasons for us to go to the schools and to talk to the youngsters, that we together can bring about a change if you want to see a change in the future. And over to Alok Mandari for his thanks message.
Well, good evening, friends. It's been a great session this evening, and obesity, as every speaker has talked about, that it's a very real epidemic which has to be tackled at great levels, and pediatricians are the best people to combat childhood obesity. And our chief guest this evening, Dr. Suparna from Thailand, has been a good friend of India, and we look forward to her great support in our other endeavors at APCP conference also. And what to talk about moderation of today's, right, regarding moderator of the day. I think she was the star performer, our veteran president, Madam Dr. Neelam Mohan, leading from the front, and full marks to her. क्योंकि full इसलिए कह रहा हूँ क्योंकि I would say it will be 110 out of 100, but वो accept नहीं करता computer, so let it be 100 out of 100. I think we are unanimous in that. All more than 100 participants have all given you, ma'am, these many marks. And the panelists, what a distinguished panelist, led by our past president, President 23, Dr. Upendra Kinjwadekar, who has been handling Triple S program. He initiated Ignited Spark for importance of nutrition in children, and all through all so many schools where we have gone, all the pediatricians of the country have gone length and breadth to all over the country, and definitely the nutrition has been sensitized as an important subject, and importance of junk food and quality food has been clarified. And same things were really beautifully carried forward by our distinguished panelists, Dr. Nirmala, Dr. Shailja madam. And the endocrinal aspect was very well described by Dr. Ravindra, our incoming secretary-elect of IAP Delhi, and Dr. Hemchand, Swati Ghate were again very, very impressive by their contribution to the program. And definitely no program succeeds if it is not conceived well. And our DG app team led by Dr. Ganesh Kulkarni and Nikhil Pathak did an excellent job. It was very well covered, and our all state and national leadership, our OBs, EBs of Team 26 and others. I really thank you all for sparing your time and effort for this cause. And I can assure you it has been a time well spent, and it will definitely take us forward. Thank you, please. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And yes, it will be on the website, the video for others to see. And thank you, Pendra. Thank you so much, everybody. Thanks.
Thank you all. So
Thank you.
as we conclude, let us commit to nurturing the generation that grows not only stronger but healthier. Thank you all, ma'am. It was a wonderful
And
session, and
is
thank you for
Ruchira there
opportunity.
to announce tomorrow's program? Many have started leaving. I just want to say tomorrow 9 p.m. we have HPV, and we need to be together with the government of India. I urge everybody, irrespective of what specialty you are, to be there tomorrow 9 p.m. to know all about HPV. If the adults can learn, if the Foxy group can learn and the IMA can learn, we as pediatricians need to be there. So together, let's be there at 9 p.m. tomorrow for HPV. Thank you.